Hi, everybody. Welcome for another moment with the mayor. I'm very excited to have CEO of VEAP, Joe McDonald, with us today. Thank you so much, Joe, for joining me.
Of course, thanks for inviting me.
So I know a lot of a lot of community members know who VEAP is, but if there's folks out there who don't know about VEAP, could you just explain a little bit about what VEAP does and how they serve our community?
Yeah, a lot of times I'll say in simplest, the most simple way of explaining it is we, VEAP gets food to people who need food, and we keep people secure in their homes through a crisis. So we're a nonprofit organization that provides food and housing support to people living on low and fixed incomes in Richfield, Bloomington, Edina, and South Minneapolis. So that's our focus. That's what we do. We really focus on those two areas of food and housing support.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, of course, COVID is top of mind for everyone, and we want to make sure that people are connected to the resources they need, but then they're also learning how COVID is impacting everybody in our community. And so how has COVID-19 impacted VEAP?
Yeah, it's changed a ton. It's really changed the way we do what we do, but we have continued to provide those important food and housing supports that people in our neighborhoods and communities have grown to depend on us for. Great example is our food distribution. We have a beautiful food pantry that in pre-pandemic times, people can come into VEAP, go through the food pantry, choose their own items, get checked out, and that is one of the great features is we invite people to come into the pantry to choose the food that they want, and it makes for a great experience at VEAP. We've had to change that. Health and safety of our staff and volunteers and our program participants is a huge priority, as we all know. So back in March, we changed to a drive-through food distribution system, totally contactless. We still take appointments for people to visit our drive-through pantry now, but we are also open to people who don't have an appointment, and they can receive a full pantry visit as well. It's a really slick system. We've totally re-engineered our pantry and our warehouse. And we are still providing choice. It's obviously not the same amount of choice in food as if you were in the pantry shopping for yourself, but we are still offering choice with meat and protein, with vegetables and produce and dairy. So we're trying our best to continue to offer that choice with our food model. And then on the housing side, same thing. We are doing everything contactless. Most of the things we're doing over the phone and over email. And we are doing, as I said, a great job of continuing to get that support to the people who need it right now, especially the people who are, significantly more vulnerable now than they might have been in the past. Those food and housing programs continue to run and function very well at a much higher volume than we've been used to.
Yeah, I bet. And I just want to share a little bit about what I hear from community. I've obviously had so many community members calling me saying, I lost my job. Maybe some folks don't qualify for unemployment. Everybody's personal, family, and community situation has changed so drastically. And when people have talked to me, some people also feel a little bit of shame or embarrassment that they have to ask for resources when they've maybe never had to do that before. And something that I just want to remind our families is that this is a global pandemic that has drastically impacted the lives of every single person on this planet. And that, we have resources like VEAP. We have all kinds of resources in our community. And those resources are accessible to anybody, regardless of documentation status, regardless of income. If you want to make sure that you can stretch your dollar and make sure that you're getting your healthy food from VEAP and not having to pay for that so that you can put money away for your rent or your mortgage. This is why we have these resources anytime. But right now, I just want to make sure that our families know we are all struggling through this together, and we are all working together to get through this as well. And VEAP is one of those tremendous resources that we can leverage so that when we are financially impacted or in whatever way because of this pandemic, VEAP is there for us. So just to that end, what are some of the needs that you're seeing come out of Richfield in terms of the work that you do at VEAP?
Yeah, I would say overall, everybody needs that sense of security and stability and a sense of hope, right? People need that ability to stay safe and secure in their homes and to be able to provide a healthy meal for themselves and for their families. And that is what we do, and that is what we've seen more of a need for. You put it perfectly. There are so many people who are finding themselves in a more vulnerable position than they've ever been right now. And we are able to, because of the community effort, because of our relationships with the city of Richfield and the other cities we serve, the amazing individuals and families who are donating, faith communities, the businesses within our service area have just done an amazing job of providing that support that then we can pass through to our neighbors who have this higher level of need right now. And we're seeing that need pretty significantly. Last year, we distributed about 4.3 million pounds of food in total to our program participants. This year, we'll get pretty close to 5 million pounds. So we're going to see a significant increase in the amount of food we're distributing, and we're proactively meeting that increased need by offering 2 full pantry visits a month, and also by providing more food with each visit. We have also, we've always had a great relationship with the city of Richfield, but over the course of the last 8 or 9 months, we have worked with the housing manager, with the housing division, to make sure that we are able to provide rental and utilities assistance. So we've received funding from the city of Richfield to help do that. We've received funding from the county to be able to do that. The state CHAP funding source we've been able to help residents of Richfield with as well. So on a positive note, we've been able to get $400,000 of rental and utilities assistance out to residents of Richfield. That's impacted about 300 families in Richfield. So we've definitely seen that increased need. And as you said very well, if people can come to VEAP and get food that helps them save money for rent payments, or if people are in that need for rent payments, we're there as well. And that might free some money up for food, or come here for both if you're in that, if you have that need right now. That's what we're here for. And that's the resource we want to be and we need to be for our community right now.
Absolutely. I think VEAP has just been a great example of how community can work together and pivot very quickly to make sure that we are meeting the needs of everyone in a crisis situation. And just to do a little more myth busting about, you know, who goes to VEAP, who these services are open to. I work in healthcare for my day job, and I work in public health. And I know that every single one of us in this country, unfortunately, is one medical accident, one medical situation away from potential homelessness or, you know, being really seriously in debt. And so who are the clients of VEAP? How do people from different backgrounds and cultures who speak different languages, how do they access VEAP?
Yeah, I would say words I would use to describe the people who participate in our programs, it would be hardworking, resilient, resourceful. They're our neighbors. And as you said, there are so many of us who live in Richfield, Edina, Bloomington, South Minneapolis, that are a paycheck away or a bill away from being in a place of need or being vulnerable. We have an economy right now that has left a large portion of our working class, our hardworking class in America behind. We have a minimum wage that hasn't kept up with the cost of living. So as I said, we see so many hardworking people of all different races and cultures. We have an amazingly rich diversity of people and cultures within the communities that we serve. And we are able and love to be able to support the people who have those needs. So, and as I said, we all know that people are especially vulnerable at this time. The people that we might have been serving normally pre-pandemic are those types of people, hardworking, resourceful, resilient, who need a little bit of help every so often to make ends meet. And those people are even more vulnerable now, and people who might not have felt vulnerable before are in those situations now. So we pride ourselves on being a place where anybody with any background can come and access the support that they need right now in real time.
Right. And thank you so much for that information. It is really everyone in our community that, you know, can get support and benefit from VEAP. So lastly, communities, really different religious groups, cultures are celebrating their holidays right now. They've been celebrating holidays, and then we're going to come into more holiday seasons and then the end of the year. So I know the end of the year traditionally is a time where families, groups, you know, individuals want to donate. So what are ways that people can contribute right now to VEAP?
Yeah, every time I'm asked this question, I think there are three main ways. Financial donations are greatly appreciated. Financial donations provide us the most flexibility to direct that where there is the most immediate need. But we also love receiving food donations as well. One of the things that I've learned in 2 years at VEAP is that food drives really bond communities and people living in communities together, and I think connect them even closer to the mission of VEAP as well. So food donations are always welcome and accepted between 9 and 5 here at our facility in Bloomington. And then lastly, volunteers. We've intentionally needed to reduce the number of volunteers that we have had here at VEAP, again, prioritizing that health and safety, but we still need volunteers. We don't have enough staff to get the food to people who need the food. We've been averaging about 150 to 160 households per day in our drive up line. So we still need that volunteer support. So there are a lot of ways to give financially, to give food, and to give time. And we will see that need. We continue to see that need increasing from all the studies we're seeing. The late fall and the winter will continue to see that need. So any way of donating those finances, that time, or food is greatly appreciated.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for spending the time to talk a little bit about VEAP with me and our residents. And we just want to remind our residents, a week or two ago, the city staff put together a great list of resources in Spanish and English, and I was able to write a letter reaching out to all of our families to make sure that they're connected to VEAP. They understand all the resources out there to support our families during COVID. We're asking people to please remain overcautious as much as possible. I know that's really hard and we're all tired of COVID, but right now we're facing some of the hardest times in the pandemic, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. So please just hunker down a little longer. And if you need access to support and resources, VEAP is an exceptional organization to connect with. And if you're able to give support and resources to our neighbors right now, please consider VEAP. So thank you, Joe, for all of your leadership. Thank you to all the staff and the volunteers at VEAP. And I appreciate you spending time with me.
Of course, on behalf of our staff and our volunteers and our board, we just want to say thank you to the city of Richfield, and thank you, Mayor, for inviting me to be a part of this today.